In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your front impact sensor. This is what triggers your airbags in the case of an accident on this Chevy Silverado 2500. It's located behind the front bumper on the frame, so let's get started. Let's disconnect the battery, and I'm just going to disconnect the negative terminal on this one. My truck has two batteries. I'm going to show you how to disconnect both. If you just have one, it'll just be this one right here towards the passenger side firewall right behind your coolant overflow tank. So let's grab a 10mm socket and loosen up this mounting nut that holds down the negative battery terminal. Once it's loose enough, you can just grab it, pull it aside, and make sure that you put it somewhere where it cannot bounce back onto the terminal. I'm going to tuck it right behind there like that. There's no way it's going to come up by itself. At this point, if you just had this one battery, you're done. It's disconnected. I actually have two batteries on this truck. The other one is right behind the driver's side headlight. Same thing applies here. Grab a 10mm, loosen up the mounting nut. It's the same style terminal. Once you loosen it up enough, you should be able to wiggle it right off that battery and just put it down here. Obviously, there's no way it's going to come up by itself. At this point, you have all the power disconnected to the vehicle, so we can continue with our job. It's been about an hour since we disconnected the batteries, so we are safe to continue with the job now. All capacitors that may have still had current in them are drained, or should be drained at this point. I'm going to remove this front shield here, this splash shield, so that we can get better access to the impact sensor. It's got 4 15mm bolts, so let's take them all off. With this shield down, if you look right in the middle over there, you'll see that connector, and that is for our impact sensor. So the first thing I will do is try to disconnect that. There's a red locking safety tab here. So I'm going to use a pick, pry that backwards, and then you should be able to press up on this tab to remove the connector. There we go. Now the bolt that holds this on, unfortunately, goes in through the top. I cannot show you this because I can't even see it. However, you can see the bottom of it right here. So I'm going to stick a socket up and through this hole here and reach it. You can easily stick a socket there, you just can't really see it. The socket you'll need is a T30 socket. You can go in through the side or through the front here. Try to feel for the bolt. And once you get your socket on it, you should be able to break it free. Once you get your ratchet up here, you're actually going to want to spin this clockwise, or, well, in the direction that you would normally tighten it in, because this bolt is actually reverse threaded. So if you spin it to the left, as if you were loosening, it's actually not going to loosen, it's going to strip out. Once you spin it a few turns, you should be able to slide it back and out through that slot. Since my area was fairly contaminated with oil, I already cleaned it off with some brake parts cleaner. I'm going to clean it with a rag as well. It's very important that this piece is properly attached. It does trigger your airbags, so you want to make sure that it's clamped properly. The new sensor should come with thread locker already on the bolt, so you don't have to worry about that, but you do have to make sure it is mounting flat. Otherwise, it could sense the impact improperly in the event of an accident, of course. Take your new sensor, slide it in like that, and line it up into position. I'm going to grab my tool, stick it up here, and tighten it up. Now, of course, I'm going to set my ratchet to loosen in order to tighten this. All right, that's bottomed out right there. If you have the ability to torque this, I highly recommend it. The torque is 71 inch-pounds. Obviously, make sure you're set to loosen on the torque wrench. Yep, that's it right there. It is very important that this is torqued properly so it can sense the impact as it should. It is designed to be torqued to this torque spec. Now plug in the sensor. Make sure your connector is still in good condition, of course. Make sure that clicks. It is important that it's properly secured, and lock it. Put this wire back since I took it off for visual purposes. Put this shield back up. It's a good idea to put some anti-seize on these bolts, or grease. I like to do that so that the threads don't seize up in the future. These are exposed to water and the elements pretty much at all times, and they do often seize up. This is just a plastic shield, so when you tighten it, just snug them, maybe 1/8 of a turn after that if you're doing it by hand, otherwise you'll crack the plastic. There we go, that's installed. Let's reconnect the batteries now. It does not matter which one you start with if you have two batteries. I'm just gonna start with this one. Place the negative terminal over the negative post of the battery, and with your 10mm socket, carefully snug up this mounting nut on the terminal. Hold it from spinning if necessary. Once you get it snug enough, it should stop spinning. Give it about 1/8 of a turn after it bottoms out. If you cannot move this terminal back and forth, you're good to go. Let's move on to the other one. Grab that terminal, place it over the battery, just like the other one. Tighten up that 10mm nut. Once it bottoms out, give it about 1/8 of a turn at most. Definitely not more than that. It's tight, it doesn't move, so job is done.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.